Good evening and welcome to NTA Parliamentary News. I'm Deborah Olumayowa. Now the news in detail. Despite the financial and emotional harm inflicted on vulnerable Nigerians by fraudulent financial institutions, more people fall victims to schemes that promise unrealistic financial returns on investments. In a decisive move, the Nigerian Senate is taking steps to protect Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali tells us how.
The Senate, through its Joint Committee on Banking, ICT, Anti-Corruption and Capital Markets, is making a push to place fintechs and other financial digital platforms under the supervision of the Central Bank of Nigeria. At this public hearing on a bill to amend the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act, BOFIA, which is combined with an investigation into operations of Ponzi schemes in Nigeria, Senate was firm that the more than 60 million Nigerians patronizing electronic payment systems and other financial digital platforms must be protected.
Fintechs, i.e. mobile money operators, payment platforms, digital lenders, and settlement companies now serve millions of Nigerians. They process vast transaction volumes and they hold sensitive financial data. The laws that we have currently are yet to keep pace with their scale and systemic relevance.
Fintech companies and digital platforms have significantly advanced financial inclusion. However, innovation must be matched by effective regulation. As institutions grow in size, the risk they pose to the broader financial system also increase.
Part of the proposal in the bill is the establishment of a national register for transparency and ownership disclosure.
The creation of a fintech innovation and coordinating committee. Again, this will make for sharper focus.
Regulators and operators from across the country's financial ecosystem were at the hearing in support of stability and integrity in Nigeria's financial system. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Committee on Finance has directed several revenue-generating agencies and government parastatals to appear before the committee within 1 week with comprehensive documentation of their financial operations. This was during an ongoing revenue monitoring exercise by the committee aimed at assessing revenue performance and remittances to the Federation account for the 2023 to 2025 fiscal years. National Assembly correspondent Amina Saidu reports.
Proceedings recorded extensive interactions between committee members and agency representatives with recurring concerns raised over revenue remittances, expenditure transparency, and financial documentation.
The approved revenue budget for the agency in 2023 was 292.9 billion. As at the 31st of December 2023, the authority generated the sum of 191.4 billion, and we collected the sum of 165.1 billion.
There are a number of economic policies that have been enunciated and are taking roots by 2024, and we have really started the implementation of this.
The earnings we earn from the market is supposed to cover our operations. After we have presented proposals to you, when we're presenting our capital, we present our recurrent, and you've cleared it. It's supposed to cover our operations, but they continue to deduct from us.
Agencies that appeared before the committee include the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Corporate Affairs Commission, and Nigeria Customs Service, among others.
And the gaps is remittance to ensure that what is generated is remitted to the coffers of government by all the agencies concerned. The question is that you cannot be funded by government and then you keep the revenue. And so what we are trying to do is to ensure and to instill discipline to ensure that these revenues generated are remitted to government. We're asking them to go back and do the proper thing. Why others whose head of agency did not come, we want to see the head of agency. There cannot be representation here. You understand? And we have also, of course, invited NNPC, NUPRC, and Midstream to appear before us on Wednesday next week.
The exercise was subsequently adjourned till next week, with all invited agencies expected to present detailed and verifiable financial documents. From the National Assembly, Amina Saidu, NTA News.
In a related development, the House of Representatives is escalating leakages, ruining the provisions of the Pre-Inspection Act by ordering the Central Bank of Nigeria and other concerned agencies to publicly declare their individual proceeds from pre-shipment inspection of exports and crude oil. This prayer was made during the continuation of an investigative hearing of the Green Chamber's ad hoc committee on pre-shipment of exports and non-remittance of crude oil proceeds. Joshua Ogunjide completes the report.
The ad hoc committee was established consequent upon careful examination of reports, petitions, financial data, and public concerns suggesting possible infractions in export declarations, weaknesses in the pre-shipment inspection framework, alongside remittance of proceeds accruing to the Federation.
History has shown that nations prosper when institutions are strong, when transparency is valued, and when public resources are protected.
The House is also interested in the non-filling of Form NXP by certain exporters.
We got very strong revelation that some shipments left this country without the exporter filling the form. Is that a concern to CBN if such happens?
The CBN says it only plays a role of the Secretariat and by standard has no function at the terminal, while the Nigerian Customs Service claims that it is not in a position to collect export duties.
That two accounts should be opened with Central Bank, one for the oil and the second one for the non-oil. Then the management of that particular account in terms of maybe approval, what goes into it, that should be done by Federal Ministry of Finance. What we do, we verify any claim that has to go into the account, pass it to of Finance for them to verify.
The law allows them to pay duty based on the raw material, not as a finished product. That's what the law allows them to.
Okay.
Do at the raw material rate.
So the proceeds from such, what happens?
It's paid into the treasury account where our duties are paid.
Into the Federation account,
as import duties and declarations are made.
Are there sanctions for this violation of laid-down guidelines?
The PIA Act is being run against the provision of the Constitution. And that is why Mr. President issued Order 9 recently on PIA. Because this Parliament, if not for this engagement, how would this Parliament know the quantum of money that exporters, that the levies, the quantum of levy that has been paid into that account?
All concerned agencies, including the Nigerian Port Authority and NASIMA, are expected to forward to the ad hoc committee report of their proceeds in due course. From the National Assembly, Joshua Ogunjide, NTA News.
The House of Representatives Ad hoc Committee on Power is engaging stakeholders in the power sector to provide details of the actual generation capacity, indebtedness to the GENCOs, as well as interventions since the privatization exercise took effect, which they described as incurring loss to the federal government. At an interactive session with the Nigeria Bulk Electricity Trading, Azura Power Plant and Niger Delta Power Companies, the committee scrutinizes their submissions querying the persistent power grid collapse, shortchange of the rural dwellers without supply, among other challenges.
We have about 6 operational bilateral agreements currently running within the country, and we have one bilateral, sovereign bilateral CCCT of Togo. We supplied them, we're supposed to supply them about 100 megawatts worth of power daily. So we're currently running that agreement. We also have some challenges with payments from the sovereign bilateral.
There's no
preferential treatment from our side that would step down the NIPP in favor of Azura. The transmission line as it currently exists can take both.
Disco's collections to us is ring-fenced to meet their obligation, but we track their non-payment and follow up the guarantees and risk department that holds the bank guarantees of the Disco, and periodically follows up with them to ensure that they pay. And when they pay those money, they come as supplementary payments that we offload to the generation companies.
The committee, however, says this is not sustainable as taxpayers' money must be justified.
From the submissions made by the discourse, their total indebtedness stood at about 556 billion. But with this NIBO plus 4 interest that you charge them, they have an additional 907 billion to pay. Okay, I'll ask. The Nigerians that could not afford to pay effective tariff, cost-effective tariff, where will this discourse find extra money to pay you interest to enable you offset the interest charged by the GENCOs for delayed payment of what you are supposed to pay them?
The committee asked the Nigeria Bulk Electricity Trading to reappear before it on the 10th of March 2026 for more deliberations. The United Nations says efforts towards repositioning and streamlining the institutional framework of the National Human Rights Commission by the House of Representatives will further strengthen its capacity to conduct investigation and expand its scope of operations. The UN representative gave the remark at a one-day public hearing on 2 related bills by the House of Representatives Committee on Human Rights. National Assembly correspondent Isa Mohammed has details.
The 2 bills are Human Rights Defenders Protection Bill 2024 and National Human Rights Commission Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2025. Citing growing human rights challenges, including terrorism, communal conflicts, insurgency, and other unforeseen human rights violations, the representative of the Speaker and the committee members stressed the need to strengthen the Commission's powers, protect and recognize human rights defenders in Nigeria aligned with global practices.
The purpose of this hearing is consultation, not ratification. The House of Representatives is, as usual, committed to an open, inclusive, and transparent legislative process.
We are here to receive expert opinion on their legal, constitutional, financial, and policy implications, to identify gaps or ambiguities that may require amendment, and to ensure that the final legislative outcome reflects national interest.
The Executive Secretary of the Commission says they are working to address human rights concerns. He, however, makes a case for more funding, power of enforcement, and independence.
This present effort by the committee is to harmonize all this and then pass one legislation so that when you pick it up, you know you are dealing with all issues concerning the National Human Rights Commission.
These efforts, they will ensure greater alignment with international standards, particularly the Paris Principles on the status and functioning of human rights institutions, and advance the recognition and safeguards for human rights defenders in line with the UN Declaration on Human Rights Defenders.
Stakeholders were of the views that the 2 bills, when established and repealed, will not only reposition the Commission, but also ensure adherence to due diligence. From the National Assembly, Isa Muhammad, NTA News.
The 2027 election is less than 10 months from now, and INEC has presented the election budget to the National Assembly for consideration and passage. A member of the Electoral Committee in the Senate, Senator Abdul Ningi, is our guest. You're welcome, sir. Looking at the proposed election budget of more than 800 billion naira and the election timetable released, what are your views on them?
No budgetary provision has been able to be fulfilled. And all of a sudden, we saw this budget, which we have not yet passed. And then, even without passing the budget, INEC is now bringing a timelines that is very close to comfort. First of all, I'm sad that the psyche of an average Nigerian of federal politics has not been taken into consideration while we are bringing these timelines to bear. First and foremost, electioneering campaign has started right after 2023, and INEC as a body has not made any announcement as to that regard. Now, you are asking the government to provide the sums of 800 billion between this year, March, and April, when we are about to start and close the party primary elections. And in the course of this budget in the past, no agency or government or ministry has been able to have 30% of its capital budget implemented. Now the question arising from this, where will the government get money to fund this budget, which is supposed to be in the next 2 months or so?
In addition to the initial proposed figure, the Senate committee is requesting an additional 30 billion from the Appropriation Committee for INEC. Can you tell us why?
That is a question that everybody is asking. Whether or not the body, INEC as a body, has sat with the president, who brings out these monies, whether they have been informed that these monies are available for this preparation. And it also marries with my concern that why would you bring the party primaries in the next few months when your budgetary allocation is not yet been made available? Even the 2025 budgetary allocation for INEC has not been implemented. So I see a situation whereby there will be confusion going forward, because I'm a member of the appropriation. I'm also a member of the electoral committee. I was there when INEC submitted its demand for additional of 30 billion on 800 billion that was actually enveloped. And the additional request looks okay for me in view of what INEC said they wanted to do with the money. Now the question is, are we having that money available? What amount of money do we have available to kickstart the process of this 80 billion, 800 billion, and then 30 billion?
Lastly, sir, you spoke about consultation. What is your suggestion to INEC?
I think, in my opinion, there's something that is missing. INEC needs to consult more under the table, or somehow consult with the National Assembly leadership, go and meet the president and see whether these monies are going to be available. If these monies are going to be available, how much will be available? What are the timelines? And these are very, very important things. And I'm happy that you have raised it. A lot of Nigerians have not seen that aspect, but now we are raising it because it's a cause for concern.
Thank you so much for your input, Senator Ningi. Moving on, the Kano State House of Assembly has served an impeachment notice on the Deputy Governor of Kano State, Aminu Abdulsalam Kwazo, over 4 allegations. Details of this and more from the State Houses of Assembly after this timeout. If you're just joining us, this is Parliamentary News reaching you from NTA Parliament, Abuja. You can follow us on the platforms on the screen for more updates. Reports reaching us indicates that the Kano State House of Assembly has served an impeachment notice on the Deputy Governor of Kano State, Aminu Abdulsalam Kwazo, over 4 allegations. The notice was signed by 38 out of 40 members of the House. Samira Hamisu Shira reports that the Assembly also received correspondence from the Kano State Council of the All Progressive APC, affirming the maintenance of status quo in the leadership of the State Assembly.
Majority Leader Lawal Hussein has presented 4 allegations against the Deputy Governor Aminu Abdulsalam, including breach of trust, abuse of office and gross misconduct. He said the offences were allegedly committed while the Deputy Governor supervised the Ministry for Local Government between June 2023 and January 2024. According to him, the allegations are impeachable under Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended.
It is alleged that His Excellency Aminu Abdulsalam, while serving as Commissioner for Local Government and entrusted with the general control and the administration of 44 local government areas of the state, willfully participated in the diversion of funds allocated to local government administrations for purposes other than those for which they were appropriated.
A formal notice of the allegations is to be served on the Deputy Governor Aminu Abdulsalam, who is expected to respond accordingly. The House will thereafter determine the next line of action. Meanwhile, during plenary, a correspondence was received by the Kano State House of Assembly from the All Progressive Congress State Council, affirming the maintenance of status quo in the leadership of the Kano State House of Assembly, which involves the Speaker and his deputy alongside 4 principal officers.
Remember that the Kano State APC is maintaining the status quo regarding State Assembly leadership.
The House has been adjourned to Monday, the 30th of March, 2026. From the Kano State House of Assembly, Samira Hamisu Shira, NTA News.
The Cross River State House of Assembly has passed the State Rural Access Roads Authority Amendment Bill, followed deliberation on the bill by lawmakers during plenary. Uduak Etim reports that the bill seeks to amend the principal law on the composition of the board of the authority. Her report.
The Cross River State Rural Access Roads Authority Amendment Bill seeks to amend the principal law on the composition of the board of the authority. Sponsor of the bill and member representing Bokiwan State constituency, Bete Philip Obi, disclosed that the amendment is aimed at reducing the membership of the board from 16 to 11 in order to strengthen their rules as well as enhance accountability while also ensuring that rural roads are addressed.
In a bid to create a more streamlined and functional decision-making body. It also reflects a decision to draw a majority of the road board members from the private sector, thereby strengthening the role of road users and private stakeholders in the oversight and management of the road network.
Other lawmakers supported the amendment of the bill, emphasizing that it will improve road infrastructure across the state.
I think the most important aspect of this amendment, as stated by the sponsor, is the composition of the governing board. This bill has to do with rural infrastructure, and I think it's a good bill, and it does not require too much of the bureaucratic bottleneck that will stiffen the process of this bill.
Mr. Speaker, we don't need to overflow this particular proposal. It has already been highlighted, and the area that needs to be amended principally have been already outlined here.
The House was dissolved to the Committee of the Whole after which the Speaker briefed the House as he sat as chairman of the committee.
While at the committee of the whole, the bill was considered and a couple of things were agreed to, and these are the things agreed to. Long title agreed to, commencement agreed to, enactment agreed to.
Cross River State Rural Access Roads Authority Amendment Bill 2025, third reading.
Dear colleagues, the Cross River State Rural Access Road Authority Amendment Bill 2025 has been read the third time and passed into law.
The 10th Assembly believes the Cross River State Rural Access Roads Authority Amendment Bill will contribute to rehabilitation of rural roads in the state as the bill is passed. In Calabar, Uduak Etam, NTA News.
This is where we call it a day on Parliamentary News for this evening. For more details, kindly follow NTA Parliament on the platform scrolling on your screen. Thanks for staying tuned. Once again, I'm Deborah Olumayowa. Bye for now.